Hey guys, welcome back to my Sassy Rage channel. So I decided that today was going to be my first video slash channel for horror movie reviews. Now, if you know me in person, you know how much I love horror movies. I probably have seen more horror movies than anyone could ever imagine. I grew up on them since I was like 6 years old. I would go down to the video store and just pick up whatever new release I could find. Now, with that being said, I am from the US, and as you know, the US doesn't really produce very good horror films anymore. Sometimes there's a gem, and most of the time you're just getting cheap jump scares and really, really bad CGI or just overall disappointing stories. And this is why I wanted to start this channel, because I want to narrow down what I personally like, but what I also think real horror movie fans will love. So let's dive in. So to get into this video, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Malignant. Now, Malignant just came out yesterday, and I finally had a chance to sit down and watch it, and I have to be honest, I'm not crazy about it. I thought it was very unoriginal, and it just felt very flat, and a lot of scenes were just bad. Now, I'm going to go into depth on why I think this and what my final thoughts are. So let's start off with a little bit of the movie background. So this is James Wan in the picture. Now, if you don't know who James Wan is, he's basically directed movies like The Conjuring, Insidious, Dead Silence, basically any films that you've seen, like Annabelle Creation, Annabelle in general. All those films James Wan is known for. Okay, so let's talk about Malignant. Now, I'm going to show this poster again because I want to emphasize the fact that this poster is basically a foreshadowing of the movie. Now, it's James Wan, so I tried to have like an open mind when it came to the plot of this movie. And the title itself, the impression I got from it was, okay, it's something violent, it's something deadly, something terminal, like a disease. However, it's the opposite in the movie. First of all, I feel like we were kind of duped with this movie. And the reason why I say that is because in the trailer for this movie, you feel like you're going to see a character that's going through something mentally. Maybe she's unstable. Maybe there's someone haunting her house. Maybe she can see ghosts. You know, something of that nature. That's what my first impression was of the trailer for this movie. Now, I will say the only part of this movie I fairly enjoyed was the very beginning scene. Now, I'm not going to go into deep spoilers, but I will say that the beginning scene set up this movie to be great. Like, it had a banger opening, and it doesn't give you too much depth on what's going on. Like, you kind of have to piece it together as you go along. So, for me, the beginning packed a very powerful punch. Okay, so our film's main character is Madison. Now, Madison is somebody who was adopted by a family. Okay, so there's the horror movie plot genre where it's, you know, a family adopts a girl and the girl later doesn't remember anything. So that's pretty much how this kind of starts out. It starts out with her being pregnant, and we learn in the film that she's had several miscarriages. Now, it's important to note at the beginning of the film, Madison does suffer some head trauma. I'm not going to give away what that head trauma is, but since she suffered that head trauma, she begins seeing things. And what I mean by seeing things, she sees crimes that happen. Now, they don't really go in and explain this to you. All we know is that there is a character on the loose murdering people. Madison has no idea why she keeps seeing these murders, but then she realizes in the real-time world, they're actually happening. Now, our assailant, in the beginning, I thought it was, you know, a supernatural being, but it turns out it's not a supernatural being. And I guess that's where the plot twist was, but to me, it just didn't shock me as a plot twist at all. All we know in the beginning is that Madison is connected to the murderer. Now, this leaves a lot to be questioned. I feel like Madison has a lot of mental breakdowns and breaking points, especially having suffered 3 miscarriages in her life, and her just not knowing what's going on or why she's connected to the character that we see murdering people. So that part was totally fine. Like, it was okay. Okay, once we see the assailant's face, I personally was disappointed. Not only was I disappointed with how they made the villain look, But I was also disappointed in the CGI movement of this character. I couldn't take the film seriously after that. It just felt unnatural. I feel like James Wan wasted an opportunity to make this about her mental health and her abuse and her trauma, and it would have been good. I just felt like there were so many wasted opportunities here. We learned that this person, I guess we'll call it a monster. Let's call it a monster. This monster decides to go after people that Madison used to know in her life, because I guess she used to be a test subject for a lab. And then also, this villain was also a test subject in a lab. Now, if you're like me, you'll figure this out really quickly. I'm going to be honest, the plot was very simple. There was no depth. There was just nothing to drive home the point of the story. And when you actually find out what's really going on, you end up disappointed because it just falls apart. It falls apart. It almost doesn't make any sense. It's not even scary at that point once the reveal is there, but it's also boring. It's a boring reveal. I'm about to have a big spoiler alert here. If you do not want to spoil this for yourself, I advise you to stop or skip over this. So right now I'm going to go into the spoiler. Spoiler alert. Madison actually has a twin that lives in the back of her head. That's the big reveal. It's not shocking. It looks like Voldemort crawled up into her head and lived there for some time, but she had no idea because she was in a lab. Yes, my friends, this was the big reveal. She has a fraternal twin that comes out of her skull and somehow manifests as her, and they have two faces, and all I could think about was baby Voldemort. That's exactly what it looked like. It was so stupid, and it was the lamest thing I've ever seen. How did they think this was good? It wasn't even, not only was it not scary, it was just so funny. Aside from that being just super disappointing and just dumb, I have to admit, it's even worse because Madison goes to the police several times, and of course they don't believe her. Why are they gonna believe that there's some weird dude with a creepy face running around like a spider? It's so bad, you guys. It's so bad. This is where all hope for this movie was lost, when you figure out what's exactly going on. Okay, so let me show you more. It turns out that her fraternal twin that comes out of her skull wants to take revenge on all the scientists that did testing on them, because here's the kicker. They removed the fraternal twin from her back. So it was suppressed, and that was the end of it, right? No, it awakened, and now it just wants to kill everybody in sight, including their birth mother, the doctor, everyone you can think of. So basically, her twin goes on a mass murder spree. It doesn't look human. To me, it looks like an alien, which I still don't understand, okay? And on top of it, the fraternal twin is moving around like it's some sort of, some other being, like a monster. It just doesn't make any sense. And honestly, and here's where the real insult for this movie comes in. Okay, I'm about to share this in the next slide. Okay, horror movie fans. Now, if you are a big horror movie fanatic like I am, you will probably have heard of Junji Ito by now. Junji Ito is a manga horror artist, and he has a collection of stories. Now, one of his stories is called Tomi, which is what this picture is from. Now, Tomi is, you guessed it, a two-faced girl. Sound familiar if you've seen Malignant? Kinda. The stories are different, though. Well, Tomi and Malignant are two very different stories. I can't help but wonder if James Wan just looked at this picture of Tomi, because he's a horror director. Let's face it, he's probably heard of Junji Ito. I feel like he just took inspiration from this picture, and unfortunately, he did a terrible job with this movie and its writing. Just terrible. Yes, you guys, this is exactly what my face was when I found out the reveal and how this movie ended. It was completely horrible, you guys. Horrible from start to finish. It was not an interesting story. It was very predictable. And the effects weren't even good. They just weren't good. It just fell apart. It's like they gave up towards the end. Honestly, you guys, you are better off checking out any other horror movie than this one. All that being said, this movie was so terrible, you guys. So terrible, I literally never want to watch it again. It was a big waste of time. 1 out of 10. I'm pretty sure other people might agree with me on this, but if you did like it, hey, that's great. You guys are entitled to your opinion, but as somebody who's been watching horror for years, this really was bad, you guys. It's just so bad. Take my advice, don't watch. Now, with that being said, my best advice to you is if you have to watch this movie, do not pay money to go watch it. Do not go to a theater and watch this. Borrow someone's HBO Max if you have to, but do not spend money to watch this. You will feel so disappointed. And not only that, I would even pay like $5 to watch this, to be honest with you. Just wait for the Blu-ray or the stream whenever you can stream or rent it. Hey guys, to wrap this video up, that was my review on Malignant. I personally don't recommend this movie, and I will not be watching that again. I'm looking forward to reviewing Midnight Mass when it comes out and a few others, so I'll keep you posted when I'm going to post those videos. I will definitely be doing some other reviews on horror movies, but for now, go ahead and click subscribe, tell your friends, share my videos, comment down below, and yeah. That being said, guys, I hope you have an awesome day. And to all my fellow horror movie fans, do not give up on horror movies, because I have a feeling that there is going to be some gems coming out, hopefully soon. But for now, let's keep our hopes up.